Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be back, this time with an expert. I'm not quite 100% sure of what he does, so let's not describe it. Let him describe it. Today we have with us Benoy Stephen. Let's listen to him. Over to you, Benoy.
Thanks, Vosa. It's nice that you reached out, and we have been working for some time since, say, almost last year to now to also find the time. I would start off by just correcting you. I'm not an expert in anything, just figuring out and enjoying stuff in the process. So what I do is I run an organization called Y Ultimate. We use a sport called Ultimate Frisbee to empower young people from marginalized socioeconomic backgrounds so that they have the life skills and opportunities for them to thrive. And in that process, you also pay it forward and support the next generation of children that come out. And for you doing that and you impacting more lives, you get a stipend, and that stipend helps you fuel your aspirations, which is your college, or it could be anything that you want to do that you are unable to do because of a lack of opportunity, resource, and networks. So that's the simple introduction about me.
Sorry, but continue. Tell us more. I'm sure. I think I know what is Frisbee. I don't know what is Ultimate Frisbee. Tell us how you got this idea, what you are doing, and your past also.
Sure. So I grew up in Kerala, in a small place called Trivandrum. Went to a boys' school, had an excellent education for 13 years, right from UKG all the way to 12, stayed in one school, which is Loyola School. And the key thing there was, if you're studying there, football was like part of your identity. And if you didn't play football, people would just even question, like, did you even go to that school? So I used to play a lot of football. And at one point, my father was like, you don't have enough discipline in your life, so you should be in the NCC. You should get more structured. So I went to NCC and I liked it a lot. And I spent more time with NCC during, I think it was 8th and 9th standard, and even certain parts of 10th. That gave me an opportunity to work with others, lead teams, and I found joy in not just going and winning something, but putting something together where we all will win, or even if I don't perform, but my team performs, that's the joy that I get. And that led to certain leadership roles in the school as a assistant school leader, then a school leader, and a organizer of a inter-school fest for students. All these small experience really helped. And of course, growing up, my mother used to always keep aside money from every salary that she got to help anybody who is in need, and like help other people with college education, marriage, different hospital needs. These things used to keep happening with whatever little that she got. She never made a compromise there. So there was that sort of conditioning also, that whatever you get, if you can you give it ahead too, or give to somebody who's in need as well? Um, and that's when I found, like, applied to Delhi University, got into St. Stephen's College, and that was a game-changing experience for me because I was like suddenly a fish out of the pond and put into the ocean. I'm not the academically brightest person about, so being amongst like all the 99 percentile in the country was a humbling experience, but also that like burst my bubble about the world, because I thought what my school was and how people in my school were, that is how the world is, and I expected that out of everywhere. But then I realized everybody has their own thing, and that's absolutely fine. So finding my footing in Delhi was hard for me. And that's when one of my mentors, Maitri, she helped me in the maths department. And she said, like, why don't you just come spend some time in the evening in this concept called the evening class, which is where the college has a very old society called the Social Service League, which is very similar to the NSS. And one of the initiatives they had, and which continues to exist even today, is this thing called the evening class, where the non-teaching staff children are tutored by the college-going students after college hours. So this kind of helps a high quality one-on-one mentoring support uh, at no cost, and also gives the brightest minds in the country an experience of how does it feel to actually empower one more person, support one more person. So the expectation was 2 to 3 days a week. I did not have anything else to do, so I think I used to spend 5 or 6 days week with one person itself, one of the kids. And I didn't know Hindi. I just barely scraped through in school with Hindi and just knew the basics, and was still super afraid to speak in Hindi because of the accent, the South Indian accent that I bring in, right? But uh, like I looked at these evening classes as not just this place where I go and teach, but I also used to tell my kid Jerry that along with whatever I try to teach you in maths, why don't you teach me Hindi? Or whenever I make mistake, whenever I'm not saying it the right way, you kind of correct me. So it's not just you learning from me, but I really want to learn from you. And like I would be like, where do you want to sit and study? If she says the lawn, if she says somewhere else, we used to just go there. So those experiences really helped, and that made me also realize that I like to be part of a process where, or part of doing something where somebody at the end of it leaves perhaps one person better than where they started. So a form of coaching, mentoring, teaching is something that I like. And that's when I heard about this organization called Teach for India, and I was quite intrigued about what do they do. And I went as an intern during the summer break after my second year, just before my final year. And at that time, I was in Pune, and it was a training institute where all the fellows of that year came in, and it was quite a lively place. And seeing how it all functioned, I met a couple of staff members who really inspired me that perhaps this is what I should be doing. This seems very interesting. Um, and when I went back, like it was last year of college, and there was an exchange student from Brown University in the US who brought ultimate frisbee to my college. And Jason Lehow was his name, and he introduced the sport. Uh, I think in first and second year also there was this version of Ultimate Frisbee that went on, but it often ended in fights because you never knew the rules. But in third year, when he introduced it, and there were other people in college who got interested by it and wanted to play more of it. So we started an Ultimate Frisbee team in 2015, around October, November time. And got to know there is also more people in Delhi who play Ultimate Frisbee, which is like some expats, some South Delhi folks who are primarily playing. But what really attracted me to the sport is how the sport is designed. Um, it is a self-refereed sport, which is non-contact in nature, which means there is nobody on the outside to come and tell you right or wrong. You have to learn what the rule is. You have to know what the consequence it is. What if you breach it, or if somebody breaches it, and then you have to administer it yourself without losing your cool. How do you talk through that challenge and navigate a situation which you feel is dicey or unfair, but still play with that mutual respect? And that was a very, very powerful experience for me at that time. And I mean, even now. And that's what led me to explore more about the sport. And in that process, I wanted to play more. And that led to like meeting a bunch of young people who live in this small place called Zamrudpur, which is a heart of Greater Kailash, one of the main places in Delhi. So seeing how they used to collaborate with each other and how they start believing in themselves gave me a lot of fuel that perhaps this is what an excellent education could look like. Like it's not just the academics in the classroom, but also how sport can make a difference, and how this particular sport is making a difference. And that made me finalize the deal that I will go to the Teach for India Fellowship and try how does this work with students in schools. Um, but I was fed up with Delhi at that point, to be honest. So I did not stay back in Delhi. I went to Hyderabad because, like, the staff members that I met were from Hyderabad. I was one. But the second part was there was a lot of amazing food and very affordable food. And also, it wasn't as close to home as Chennai and Bangalore, where I would be expected to go back every weekend, versus it's Hyderabad. So it will take 36 hours to go one way. So that's the kind of safe distance that I planned and was there. And that experience for me was very interesting because I thought I would be the Amir Khan in Tare Zameen Par, and like I would enter and all the kids' life would change. But that wasn't the case. Was more of how I could understand myself and be humbled once again by for the kids also to understand why I am there. Why was I actually there was a question that I had to really, really think and dig deep. Um, so that experience with these kids also was interesting. It was a challenging classroom. I realized I'm not the Amir Khan from Tare Zameen Par. I do not have the big skill sets of being an amazing teacher inside a classroom, but I like to be there outside the classroom too. And the children also like that. So how do you create spaces outside classroom with the sport to just take off their extra energy? The different problems that it was very common to see where girls and boys wouldn't sit together. Each class wouldn't interact with others. You kind of force respect out of each other. If there is one fight, you will definitely find two gangs the end of it. And it's not just the two people who are involved. It's like 20, 30 people who get involved. And these are all these small behavioral patterns, which at the end of it, um, kind of holds them back from who they can be, right? And that was a kind of pain point, and it's around that we ran an ultimate frisbee program, and the results from it was super inspiring for me to see how the community came together, how children from across age groups, across grades used to just sit together and have their lunch, midday meal together. Usually, it was just every class used to sit separately, and boys and girls would be in separate lines. And then in one corner, you have the frisbee team, which has kids from fifth grade all the way to 10th grade sitting there, mixing up with each other, sharing their food. And that kind of intermixing gave me a lot of joy and hope that we can make a slightly better place, maybe 1% better. It's at the same time that the bunch of kids that have kind of inspired me to get into the fellowship um, were almost finishing school in Delhi and thinking about what next, and met them at a frisbee tournament, and they invited me to be part of them too. That experience is what's itself a huge thing for me, because I always wanted to play but always found it difficult to play because the sport is mixed gender in nature. Usually there are lesser women who are playing overall, which means it's only if you have those many women can you have those many men, right? So, and wasn't a super athletically gifted athlete in person. So difficult to find a team. But this team accepting me for where I was really heartfelt. And that's what brought me to Delhi. And that process of playing with these children, getting to know them a bit more, spending time, fuel this passion of, okay, if 15 children can show a lot of change, why don't we take it to more children and more, like instead of us doing it, can the 15 children grow up and they become young adults who deliver this? So it's with that we just kept evolving. So it was that time when these kids also as a team used to play against St. Stephen's College and Ashoka University, because at that time there were no separation between college teams or school teams or club teams because the sport was super nascent in 2015-16. Now it's quite growing and evolving in India right now. So when it was like when you went and played against these top students of the country, and of course you lose the first time, and you work really hard for 6 to 9 months, and you come back and you get to beat them at their own campus. There's a different sense of achievement that, oh, this is possible. I am 13 years old, but I still can beat a team that's uh, far like taller than me, faster than me, a lot more because I've put in the effort. And that realization that their effort has led to success helped in them believing in themselves and then starting to push themselves in other spaces. Those who had dropped out of school wanted to finish schooling so that they can be in college. Few of them applied to with this goal of, okay, I want to be in Ashoka University because Ashoka University has now a Frisbee team and I want to play there. If I play there, then my tournaments will get funded. So that was one of the things. But that process, our people made it to the wait list. They did not make it to the final Ashoka University. But that process or that goal helped them get into Delhi University, um, go get their degrees. And that was also a challenge. Most of the parents were migrants from various parts of the country that moved to Delhi in search of work. So as the child turned 17, 18, you have supported all these years in Delhi. Schooling is free. However, college, even if it's a government college, you have to pay a fee. And that fee itself was a big amount when you look at it. So how would that much cost be taken care of? So to answer this is where we created the model that you can go and coach the next generation of children what you learned and you get paid for it so that you can fund your own education. And we kind of started these pilots in 2018. It went well. So we incorporated ourselves in 2019 as a nonprofit. Um, and well, we had a lot of dreams and hopes for 2020, and we all know how 2020 went with COVID. So we almost like had to shut shop and scale down everything massively. 2 years we were kind of under the grid or like we are almost non-existent, but there are people who have been super kind to understand what we are doing, support us in various ways. So Teach for India has incubated us through Innovated. Different people have given whatever contribution they can to keep us alive. Then Unlimited India is another organization that incubated us in 2022, and that kind of gave us a second life to rebuild ourselves and relaunch post-COVID. And now we work with about 2,100 children in Delhi NCR with 7 schools and 5 communities at this point. And yeah, this has been the journey, and because it's this organization's journey and my passion around it, I would never stop talking. So
Well, okay, Benoy, thank you so much. It is a great idea. And for me, one part of it is that the cost is very low.
absolutely.
You can have a game that involves so many people with so little cost. And therefore, it has, unlike some of the well-known games, cricket need equipment, table tennis, you need equipment, tennis, you need a lot of space, and this and that. This is very low cost. And by the way, basketball was created in the US by people who wanted to give an opportunity to young boys to play together with low cost. So it could be indoors so they didn't have to worry about the weather. And it's a small space which you can easily find. And there's a big team. So, basketball is actually created with that idea that how can we get these boys together to play and have all the team spirit. So I think the idea is quite powerful, and India has not yet picked up on the idea that we can use sports as a way to teach a lot of things to young people. But it is picking up. You are not the first one who has told me such a thing on these Vidpeds. There are others whom I've heard who are saying that we organize games. And more importantly, one of them also said that we don't organize the games, we let them organize the game, right? We let them, so they're empowering them also. So it's a fantastic thing, and the cost, well, all you need is some space and a Frisbee, right?
Absolutely, that's it.
Yeah, so see, the cost is low. This is a
Finding
very,
the right facility.
But
Yeah. Just finding also right person to kind of help
that
you
of
through it,
course,
like a facilitator.
what I'm saying, just in terms of begin the hardware.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, it isn't
Yeah.
there, So it's it's like our old traditional games of India, like kabaddi. There's no cost. Gilli danda, there is
Yeah.
no cost. So marbles, those things, they are low cost. We've given up them in favor of high cost games, right?
Yeah.
You need in cricket, you need a good bat at least, and then you need the ball, and the ball wears out. So there's an operational cost. I'm talking like an economist now. But this game of frisbee or ultimate frisbee, there's no operational cost. There's
Yeah.
none. So there's a fixed cost is minimal, operational cost is very little. And as an economist, I would say so the barriers to entry are very low. So you can spread it very well. And I think it's a great thing you are doing. I want to talk to you a little bit offline, but before we do that, tell us more about your own, how you're funding it, how it's working out for you, how can you manage your own finances with it?
Yeah. It's not easy, but like passion fuels a lot of it. And I think I've also been like quite lucky and privileged in many ways. Like one part is both my parents are government employees who are retired. My sister is a doctor who can take care of herself. So unlike a lot of young people who have a lot of pressure that you have to earn to support your family, I am coming with no baggage, no financial baggage. And that makes a huge difference. So all I have to do is I have to take care of myself. Like I have to stay somewhere. I should have clothes to wear. I should have food to eat. If these three things are taken care of, I can survive. So, um, like for about 4, 5 years, I've been staying in the office, which is the community space we rented out for our young people to have it as a safe space during COVID for them to come and access internet, do what they want to do. Then it has slowly evolved into the office. So I used to just sleep here. So my biggest cost in Delhi is rent, and that used to get sorted. And I had a 2 year period working as a consultant for a corporate, and whatever savings I had have invested in my friend, and he's building his company, so I get dividends every month, so that becomes my stipend where I can survive. From time to time I do some part-time consultancy gigs when something comes through. So I work part-time with a US nonprofit to build and support more coaches in India who are trying to use mixed gender. So they might be great at the technical aspect of how to teach the sport, but how do you handle the nitty-gritties of gender along with it, is something that I work on. I love building teams and creating spaces where people can come together. So I'm also exploring how ultimate frisbee is that leadership development and team building opportunity.
Mm.
So facilitate some sessions around it that helps me have a pocket money. So that's kind of how I survive. Um, and I am exploring what are other ways for. So the question, like what we spoke about before our recording started, is like for me also success is making myself redundant.
Yeah.
That in the non-profit there's a lot of Benoy but from there, like moving to a place where irrespective of me being there or not there, everybody has the capacity to just take decisions, the processes to follow, um, and continue. This is the vision with which we are moving. And so far, the most of the way we have survived has been through retail donations, which is individuals who have seen our work, seen our young people grow, and committing to support us through a monthly contribution, which is set up on our website where they can donate to us and you get a tax exemption for it. And that gives us our runway, right? Like that's our operation cash inflow every month. Added to that, we try to apply for grants, CSRs, that like speak with more people, try to pitch at multiple places, and wherever we get more funds from there, that helps us build the program further. And the way we have been able to do that is also because of the buy-in of the first 15. Out of first 15, we have 11 of them working with us now. It's been 9 years, and to just have them be committed to what we are doing and grow with the org and help grow the org has been a vital piece. And I'm sure like they could be paid more in the market if they go for another kind of job. Uh, they are willing to take a cut at this point to build this with us, and as we grow they will grow too. So that understanding, that trust and bond that we share is the way we have been building so far.
Okay, great. Thank you, Benoy. I want to end this now because I want to talk to you a little bit offline, and I have another interview coming up soon. So let's end it here. And it's really inspiring to hear you tell us what you are doing. And I'll be back with another young person or an expert. I classify anybody with 7 years of work experience as an expert.
All
So
right.
you've been
Yeah.
doing it, you are doing it for more, because less than 7, you are still not sure, but you sound sure you know what you're doing. And I think it's very good. It's very great. So
Thank you.
congratulations and thank you so much for doing it. So let's end it here today, and I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, sir.